Hi, Tahira. Welcome to India Today.
Hi Sana, how are you?
I'm great. Tell me, are you feeling the butterflies, the jitters? Of course, it's your first directorial debut. How are you feeling?
It has been there यार मतलब मेरा तो butterflies तो काफी देर से I think उन्होंने permanent घर बना लिया है मेरे stomach में because it had a mommy run. I was excited, nervous about that, and now I'm excited and nervous about this. So it's just been a journey for me, and I'm just so happy this small heartfelt made film has found its home at Amazon, and so happy, and heart is full of gratitude.
Tell us more. How did it come to life? And of course, Sharma ji ka beta. We've all heard all our life. But what made you pick Sharma ji ki beti?
So I think that's how I have been, like मेरा थोड़ा लिखने का या जो भी फिल्म मेकिंग स्टोरी टेलिंग का जो स्टाइल है थोड़ा टंग इन चीक है, which is why the books that I wrote 12 commandments of being a woman and 7 sins of being a mother, where a mother is supposed to be holy, और मैंने sins word लगाया था. Similarly शर्मा जी का बेटा तो आता ही अव्वल है, वो तो हमेशा ही फर्स्ट ही आता है, बेस्ट स्टैंडर्ड हमारा है, हम तो शर्मा जी की बेटी है, वी आर ऑल फ्लॉड, we are we are completely flawed, and but we are lovely, and there is a beautiful compelling story that we all have inherent to us to tell, and it's very individual. All of us are not the same, and same कहानियां नहीं है, बहुत अलग कहानियां है. And that was the intention to have Sharma ji ki beti. It was trying to make a statement in the most subtle way. Some of us have gotten it, like you said, कि शर्मा जी का बेटा था तो शर्मा जी की बेटी कहाँ से है. तो which that was the reason, to tell the world कि हम भी हैं और हमारी भी छोटी मोटी कहानी है, आके देखो.
Amazing. But tell me, where did you find the germ of it? Was it something that you heard while growing up, or how did it all happen? Tell us about
Yeah, I think the first piece of art comes from a corner of your heart, which is very pure, which has really experienced something firsthand or observed something very closely. So all these stories, there's a bit of me and my world, if not me, in all of these five characters. It's just not one. And which is why they're in different phases of life. There are two 13-year-olds, there's someone in their 20s, then there's another 30, 35, there's a 40-year-old woman. Also, I wanted to cover these phases because we do have compelling stories to tell even when we are 13 or we are 35. It's not necessary for us to be in a certain bracket for us to tell some story. So somehow cinema में हमारे इंडियन सिनेमा में यूजुअली औरतें 20 से पहले और 30 के बाद एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करती हैं, और करती हैं तो एक ही सर्टेन टाइप में एग्जिस्ट करती हैं. दिल बिकम अ क्राइंग मदर और heartbroken, divorcee. It's just very stereotypical how we. So I really wanted to cover these age groups, and I also wanted to tell their stories in the most humorous. It's a comedy drama film. That's what the genre is, and that's the idea. Have you seen it, Sana?
No, I haven't.
अच्छा, अभी आप देखोगे फिर, चलो.
Hmm.
आप देखोगे Amazon पे जो 200 कंट्रीज में जा रहा है. So yeah.
Yes, of course, right, as you rightly mentioned कि 200 countries में एक साथ जा रहा है, but Taina, because films, as we've grown up watching films on the big screen, वो एक desire रहती है कि जब आप film बना रहे हो तो शायद बड़े पर्दे के लिए बना रहे हो. Was that a thought that you also had, or were you happy with its release in on OTT?
So very honestly, like I said, the first film that you make, at least the one that I made, it came from a very, very, very pure place. There is a lot of innocence in that and a lot of subtleties, and बहुत परे है from algorithms and from commercial viability. Because had I thought of it, I would have fall into the tropes. The trope would be to have an A-lister man. The trope would be to have a young, pretty girl. The trope would be to have a love story, and these other characters can be the subplots. That's the usual trope for a theatrical or for a film to even get numbers for it to be made. I just didn't think of those, and I stuck to this vision कि मुझे ये ही देखना है. And I'm very happy it's on OTT, because मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अगर थिएटर में जाती और अगर पैलेट ही नहीं है, और अगर I don't know how many people would have eventually seen it. Here, people can rejoice it, and I just feel every medium has its own benefits and own positives and own negatives, and everything has its own glory. And with the pandemic, we have realized the strength that lies in OTT, because not only it's a lovely platform where you get to see cinema, but a variety of it. And that has had a juggernaut effect on the kind of films that even are seeing theatrical releases. So if you see, there's always a time period. एक रोमांस का टाइम था, उसके बाद एंग्री यंग मैन का टाइम आया, फिर एक मतलब एक टाइम ही डेडिकेट किया हुआ है कि इसी टाइप की फिल्में लगेंगी, फिर 90s गोविंदा की फिल्में, मतलब ऐसी ही फिल्में चलती रहेंगी. बट विद ओटीटी एंड द काइंड ऑफ द हमारा पैलेट इतना वो हो चुका है, वेरिड हो चुका है, that today you have a Munja coming in, which is a horror comedy. Then you have a biopic coming. Then you have a crew coming. I mean, say everything is different genre. There's not even a. So I just feel this जो variety जो spice आया है for even theaters, it comes from OTT. So this is not to glorify one medium and put down the other medium. I just feel these two mediums. This is something that it's a beautiful thing for us filmmakers because थिएटर पे उतनी ही फिल्में लगेंगी, उतना ही लगेगा. अगर आपको थिएटर के लिए बनाने शायद आपको विंडो ना मिले, बट विद ओटीटी so many technicians are getting jobs,
Yeah,
so much of film, so many films are getting made. I am very happy with the
yes,
advent and emergence of OTT, and it's always a desire to do a theatrical also. I want to do both of it. Like I want to do
yeah,
films made for OTT, I want to make films for the theater, I want to use exploit every possible medium which allows storytelling. So which is why I've done a podcast, which is why I've written books, which is why I've done short stories, which is why I'm even doing stories in my head on my social media. I just want to exploit every medium.
yeah.
इतनी कहानी है कि फूट फूट के आ रही है.
Right. Kahania definitely, I think it just is there with you. But tell me, was the love for filmmaking or films came after Ayushman, or were you always interested? Is something that I may explore later in life.
I feel the reason we are both are together is because our love for theater and dramatics. So we were together in high school, and then we were in our the individual colleges, and we were competing each other at youth festivals. So I think the choices that we have taken, and then we made a theater group. He then went into MTV and all. And for our theater group, I wrote my first play at the age of 19, a 2 hour play. So,
Right.
these choices have always been within me, and I just found my boyfriend. I think I was attracted to him also because there was a big congruent area in terms of our choices. So,
Yeah.
my love for storytelling and films perhaps could be amplified because the
Hmm.
conversations at home are more around this. But I
Yeah.
think he's only in my environment because of my love for storytelling and theater and dramatics.
So sweet. Tell me, while growing up, Tahira, were you the Sharmajee Ka Beti for your friends? Like, how were you as a kid? Like, your friends' parents used to compare you. You seem like those geeky types, so I'm asking you that.
I was, यार, I was. I was just. Can you believe it? In my university, I think मुझे डबल पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन का सर्टिफिकेट मिलना चाहिए क्योंकि मैंने तो अपनी डिजिटेशन तो की थी, मैंने अपने बॉयफ्रेंड की भी डिजिटेशन की थी, so which is Ayushmann only. So I had finished my entire syllabus, and then I would be reading more books in the university. I used to use the
Yeah.
university library and read more and more and more books about the subject. And my mother feels I did not top because of my handwriting, which is of a doctor's. I have a very bad handwriting. बहुत ही. तो मैं हर रोज ना कुछ लिखती हूँ, notes लिखती हूँ. हर every day I try to write something.
Hmm.
So and I don't like anybody reading into my journal. So
Okay.
so Ayushmann was just reading, and I just hid. He was like, "छुपाने की क्या जरूरत है? Nobody can even understand. Even you won't be able to understand what you have written." So, but yes, I was one of those dedicated those. Yeah, I pretty much
Yeah.
was a nerd with braces and specs. I still continue having my specs, so I was pretty much that
Yeah.
category.
Yeah. Also, tell me, as you rightly mentioned, of course, you both dated very early, started dating very early in life. Does that kind of evolve, help you evolve as a person and partner? Does that help you because you both are kind of growing up together?
It can go either ways, yeah, Sana. And I'm no one. I'm not a professional counselor on relationships,
Yeah.
so I don't even know. And I actually have not even had other relationships in life, very honestly. Sad enough, but yeah, first boyfriend became my husband. But I also feel that it's how you're growing in the conversations and the area of interests that you have. I mean to say, as you grow up, you become your own person, and if the interests sort of don't match up, there is I think all of that really does play. How you're growing up and whom are you growing up to be, and what are your interests and passions, and is there any commonality between the two of you? And yeah, with God's grace, we do have a lot of common stuff. Like to begin with, two things to hang your love for storytelling and love for our kids. And I still find him very funny. All his lame jokes, I do find it funny still. Like a lot of people say, "Hey, कितना बहुत ही sad PJ मारा है," but I still find him funny. So I guess we pretty much are in love till now.
Absolutely. Recently, a comment of his went viral that he broke up with you after he got fame through Roadies. Kind of tell me about your time. Like, how did you kind of deal with it? Because you must have been like this supportive girlfriend cheering for him in Roadies, or Jake, he just went away.
So instead of being actually, it was quite the opposite. Instead of being this supportive cheerleading girlfriend, I was a very strong-headed woman. I think that's something that I've always been. Which is why perhaps I don't know what statement did he make or not. I didn't read too much into it. But what I can say is that's the reason our relationship has also lasted, because we both respect each other's individualities, and it's
Yeah.
something that I had even during that time, and I still continue having it. So
But what's the 90s parenting hack which you kind of believe that it's still like relevant in today's time?
the 90s parenting hack,
Yeah.
which is relative, which is still.
Relevant in today's time. Yeah.
अब वो जो एक डायलॉग हमेशा बोलते हैं, वो तो आई थिंक वो तो रेलेवेंट ही है, जब तुम माँ बनोगे, जब तुम बाप बनोगे, तब तुम्हें पता लगेगा. आई थिंक वो अभी भी ऐसा ही है. किड्स डोंट लिसन एंड देन इनहेरेंटली यू फील लाइक आई विल नॉट बिकम माय मदर, बट देन यू से जब तुम माँ बनोगे, तुम बाप बनोगे, तब पता लगेगा. सो सैडली इनफ दैट कंटिन्यूज.
And coming back to the film, Tyra, tell me, of course, you've been, people know you now, but was it difficult to kind of get your scripts actioned by a producer or get the right casting? Tell me about that struggle.
Yeah, it's actually the struggle started with the word, with the kind of story that I wrote. I'll talk about Sharmajee Ki Beti, and of course the
Yeah.
other films are when they come, and I should share my bit of struggle with them also with you. क्योंकि struggle तो खत्म ही नहीं होती. That's so with Sharma Ji Ki Beti, fortunately, of course, I did go to a couple of producers, but very fortunate enough to find ellipses as people who partnered. And both Tanuj and Atul have been great cheerleaders, especially Tanuj. He just never gave up no matter what came. So he and me have been at this project since the beginning. You know, he's so many hindrances, so many hurdles have come in the shape of my personal journey, then in terms of pandemic, twice two lockdowns, because we started shooting in the first one, फिर lockdown हो गया, then we stopped, again started, and such a small film, it becomes even more and more and more difficult, you know. But if they have people who relentlessly believe in it, it's just amazing. So I'm so fortunate enough to have found such collaborators. Then once the film was made, and of course we had applause coming in, so they're all people who were greenlighting the project for the story it had. But definitely there have been pushbacks from various quarters
Yeah.
of the world of cinema, filmmaking, and society, and the budget and whatever, where things have been limited because I have women. So there have been few pushbacks, there have been few cutbacks, there have been stuff, and I will not deny it's very difficult to make a female-led cast film in today's time. It is extremely difficult, and anomaly actually that crew has happened. It will take at least 10 more crews.
And also, do you feel like the industry is open to having a woman leading from the forefront of project like you? Like, do you feel like maybe a crew members, do they take women seriously? Do they take orders from women?
Yeah, our industry is becoming better, I think, but it's difficult to say in every. It's very small, you know. Sana, ये छोटी छोटी जो patriarchy है ना, it's just
Full.
somehow वो everyday life में ज़्यादा है more than your professional, because when you go into your professional front, आप हर रोज बात कर रहे हैं, and then people really realize that she knows her job, you know, like she knows what she's talking, she knows, so there is no point not मतलब वो थोड़ा एक आप थोड़ा फाइट इमीडिएटली रिस्पेक्ट तो आप बहुत मुश्किल है, ये बहुत सच बात है कि मैं सडनली सेट पे कहीं भी पहुंच जाऊं मुझे, whereas it's easier for a man, so it's very easy for a man to just land up as a stranger and demand this respect, but a woman has to work, has to prove a point,
Yeah.
but not everywhere do you get a chance to prove, and why do you even need to prove? But small things like, जैसे हम सोसाइटी में नीचे जा रहे हैं, हमारी सोसाइटी में ना जितने सिक्योरिटी हैं, और तो वो जय हिंद कहते हैं, सो व्हेन यू क्रॉस दिस ऑलवेज विल बी जय हिंद सर, एंड जय हिंद मैम बहुत कम सुनने को मिलता है। तो
Right.
मुझे लगा था कि यहाँ पर भी एक पेट्रियार्की है कि द मैन डिजर्व्स अ सैल्यूटेशन और व्हाटएवर, बट अ वुमन डजंट. So it's
Absolutely.
just in the fight of patriarchy is on an everyday basis, on the smallest of the things, even for a
Right.
restaurant that you go, somehow things are just maneuvered. I don't know that you would have experienced. You just need to exist as a
Absolutely.
woman. You just need to exist as a woman to know the disparity which happens between man and woman. At least at workplaces, there is a scope for you to prove your point and prove your worth. But there are many places that just as a restaurant, a cab, an auto, you don't need to prove anything. यार आपको बस यहाँ से वहां
Absolutely.
जाना है, चलो वहां पर भी तुम पेट पे आके दिखा दोगे तो क्या पॉइंट है? So it's an everyday existence struggle, but we are reaching somewhere when we have stories like Sharmajee Ki Beti coming out, and we had lovely collaborators like Ellipsis Applause and Amazon coming on board and helping me share this vision
Yeah.
with the world. Then ये stories थोड़ी एटलीस्ट एक कहीं ना कहीं कोई एम्पथी आएगी कि अच्छा मे बी हंसी तो आ रही है पर कुछ कहने की कोशिश भी कर रही है, सो वैसा.
Right. Definitely. Also, Tyra, there would be a section of the audience who would call you a nepotism wife, saying that you
Nepotism
got easy access to that you may have got easy access to people. How do you kind of are you prepared to take on those conversations?
well, this very honestly, to each their own, and everybody at least on this Zoom call session would know, if had it been a result of nepotism, it wouldn't have taken me 7 years to make this film. And had I wanted to take the nepotism route, I could have easily had a guest appearance by a certain someone and get my project greenlit. I had many, many temptations given my way, but I didn't choose those. And some people who might choose them, I'm not even against that. That's their own journey. This is my journey, and I wanted to my journey to be a certain way. I need to live with my conscience, and really very honestly, with from a very open mind. So I'm not judging anyone on whatever route they have taken for themselves. But if my journey has been, it has been anything but that of nepotism.
Nepo
And
wife.
मुझे use करना चाहिए अब तो nepotism. I'm going to use, and I'm going to make Ayushmann post stories about my film.
Yeah.
तो मुझे इस्तेमाल अब करना चाहिए. But I have got nothing against nepotism.
Yeah.
Nothing. Parents work their ass off so that they can make it easier for their children, and their children and the close ones can get some advantage of it, and why not? But they have to prove their worth, na? Matlab, they were not going to give chance after chance after chance. So I respect the journey of whether it's nepotism or not nepotism. बट अगर मैं नेपोटिज्म करी होती तो मेरा करियर कब शुरू हुआ था,
Yeah.
कब होता, कब ये फिल्म बन चुकी होती. आई वुड हैव बीन डूइंग माय फोर्थ फिल्म टिल नाउ.
Absolutely.
बट
But fans are definitely wanting you both to collaborate. So, hey, ऐसा कुछ that you plan to kind maybe write or direct on someday?
I mean to say, I need to write something that has a place for him in my script. To begin with, हर जगह तो वो ड्रीम गर्ल नहीं करेगा. So also he needs to like what I write. So I there's a lot of respect for our choices that we make at home, and that necessarily doesn't mean that he needs to like my choice and I need to like his. So I need to write a script which he likes, and I need to write a character in which I see him. And he's definitely an amazing artist. He's an amazing. I'm so proud of him as an artist. He's just a pleasure for any director, any filmmaker, but the way he molds himself. So I'm really speaking from a perspective of solely a filmmaker and director, that he's a lovely talent to work with. And I really hope that I can do something someday with him.
But then because you also write, will you be okay directing someone else's work? Like, is that
Yeah.
a thought that you've given, or you want to maybe direct your own scripts?
No, I'm open. In fact, the short film that I did called Quarantine Crush, which is a film part of anthology, it was written by Ghazal Dhaliwal. So that was the one. So I did that short film. I'm open to collaborations, and that ways I'm cool.
And tell me, what are the perks of wearing the director's hat on a set?
Very honestly, that's the only thing I want to do. So I don't know the perks, or even if I didn't have the perks, I still would have wanted to do. But the biggest perk is that you getting to tell a story with your vision, and everybody on the set has to align with your vision, has to support your vision. All the crew, all the entire the cast, even the spot, even the people behind the lights, the costume. It's just a wonderful, it's just a dream world, where so many people are getting their own talent and they are according to the vision that you have. And that's a big responsibility, but it's also the biggest kick.
Tyra, over the decades, like, of course, from being known as Ayushmann Khurrana's wife to now being identified as Tahira Kashyap, like, tell me about that journey. How empowering does that feel for you?
Very honestly, there was a time when I was really worked up about why are people calling me Ayushmann's wife, and why am I Tahira Kashyap Khurrana and not Tahira and not Tahira Kashyap. And over the period of time, as you age and you become secure in your own skin and you're sure of yourself and your belief system and your trajectory of your career and your life, when now it doesn't matter to me, and now people are saying Tahira, but very honestly, now it really doesn't. I feel I'm beyond it. In fact, I take immense pride in being called Virajveer and Varushka's mother and Ayushmann's wife, because these are the people who mean a lot to me, and they must have done something great in their lives for me to also be associated like that. And I take pride in that. So I'm very proud to be his wife. I'm very proud to be their mother, and I'm equally proud if you just call me Tahira. I'm okay with anything.